Stop. I don't know why I got this on my life.
And the last one, like, what is your advice to give to? What advice will you give to the gemstone miners and marketers?
This one I want to put on for television. Okay.
What advice will you give to the Nigerian miners and marketers of Nigerian Association, the Gemstone Association of Nigeria?
But sometimes some security agencies they don't call us and they don't invite us. If you want to strengthen,
Man, not carrying me go to
if you want to encourage that to strengthen the collaboration, help us talk to your officers, your men.
I didn't hear all this thing.
You cannot go out and start informing the minds and state. We have to lead the team.
Okay, so
we have one national social team comprises NSA, DSS once in a year. For each state.
Good afternoon. My name is Deborah, and we are here live at the Nigerian Gemstone Conference and Expo 2023. Can we know you?
My name is Richard.
你叫什么名字？我叫杨维林。
Nice to meet you. So, based on the theme of the program, what did you expect when coming to the program? What did you expect?
Okay. That's what in Nigeria. 你需要他们做什么？
我来这里是想把中国和尼日利亚作为一个桥梁，把尼日利亚的一些矿产资源结当地的风土人情介绍到中国去，能够结交更多的尼日利亚朋友。
Okay, let me explain what you just said. You said that you actually wish Nigeria and China should have a good relationship in the business. That's what you just said. Yeah.
Okay, so the next question, what value do you think the gemstone has in the Nigerian economy?
That's what 那个石头有什么要求啊？
石头我们一般是从颜色、通透度、形状、密度去分辨它的好与次。
Okay. You say that it's explained a lot, so let me just summarize it. Say that they actually improve in our culture and our way of life and lots more.
So the last question, what advice will you give to the miners, the gemstone miners and marketers of Nigerian Association?
That's what那么主要如果你想告诉什么怎么做，你自己想告诉他们什么？他说了，如果你想告诉他们怎么做生意啊，你自己想告诉他们什么？
我会通过一些交流，告诉他们石头的一些简单的区分挑选，以及简单的加工。
You say that if you if you start giving the opportunity, you will actually tell them how the market look like and apart from the market and the requirements, understand, and the particular stone that is actually valuable.
So that will be all. Thank you very much and have a good day.
All right, thank you.
Then we go to establish your coordinates. You cannot just say because somebody is mining something and your own coordinate is this way. Start mining because the points of the mineral answer to that. You have to work within your own cadence, your coordinates. Before any company can move to the site, you have to come and meet us.
So I will have you.
You go there, establish your coordinates, and then
okay.
To work. And to pay all other obligations that actually CB, you have to have community development agreement. So that the community where you are working, they have to benefit on the activity. Let me rest my case here. I can't go on.
I am Engineer Neo Ajibade. I'm the National Coordinator of the Gemstone Miners and Marketers Association of Nigeria. GMAN. GMAN is an industry association established to be a platform for all stakeholders in the gemstone mining industry, Nigerian gemstone mining industry. And membership spans the entire value chain, from explorers to miners to processors to traders, exporters.
Today is a very special day. You know about that? The traditionalist. I was telling them on my show this morning. I had Babalawos in the studio with me. It was very interesting, quite revealing. And I'm wondering why the organizers have chosen not to engage them. They should be here as an observer, because they told me they control steel via Shango. And I was told this morning, yes, Ìṣẹ̀ṣe àwọn ló ní Ṣàngó, Ṣàngó ló ní irin, ló ní àbí Ògún, Ògún, Ṣàngó ní wonder, thunder, okay. So kí ló dé tá invite rep Ògún wá sí Bílẹ̀rì? Ministry, the only ministry that is in charge of steel. Don't tell us here. Ògún ló ní irin, Ògún. Let's have next Augustine Oyewelu, right? The Deputy Director of Investment, Promotion and Investor Services. After which we will have the NEPC, Export and Promotion Council, to make their own presentation. So let's welcome the Deputy Director, NEPZ. Let me also say that if you are here and your organization is supposed to make a presentation and we have not acknowledged you, please do let us know.
Yeah. Good afternoon, very distinguished participants. Let me stand on existing protocol. My MD, during the opening, I've already given a lot of background as to what is expected. My role is simply to inform the participants the role of NEPSA in enhancing the theme for today. And that is in the area of what we do in the Nigerian Export Processing Zones Authority. As you may wish to, the Nigerian Export Processing Zones Authority is the umbrella body of the federal government under the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment that is responsible for licensing, facilitating, promoting, and also encouraging investment in the free trade zone or the special economic zones. And one question that one will ask, what is a free trade zone or special economic zone? Let me quickly say that a free trade zone is an industrial enclave whereby all activities such as mining, trading, logistics, and what have you are obtainable in that enclave. And in doing that, we provide various physical incentives and concessions that are mouth-watering, that will encourage you to do business at an enabling environment under a one-stop shop. Having said that, I will quickly go on to say how the practitioners, the participants, and the stakeholders in the GEMS sector can also work and also take advantage of the scheme. Having given that brief definition of a free trade zone, it is also important for us to note that while we were discussing about the challenges of the gemstone industries, it is also important to know because there is no enabling environment for them to do this business. And that's why you see a lot of activities, illegal activities going on. The free trade zone is going to provide this enabling environment, which is also highly secured. We work with all the sister agencies in the security apparatus like the DSS, the immigrations, the customs, the NCDC, and also the information aspect of the security apparatus to ensure that your business is given a favorable environment to do your business. Having said that, one will now ask, why must I come into the free trade zone or the special economic zone to do this business? The reasons are not far-fetched. One, it is the only umbrella body that will give you a leeway. And what do we do in doing that? The Act number 63 of 1992, as amended, that gave us this background, specified what the authority is supposed to do. And that implies we offer a complete tax holiday from all federal, state, and local governments, rates, custom duties, and levies. So you can imagine why the free trade zone becomes the plank. Number two, we give one-stop approvals. My brother from immigrations, we work with them. During his course of presentation, he did mention about the combined expatriate resident permit and alien card, the SEPAC. So if what the challenge the gemstone and mining is having, those materials, as we did recognize, are all in this our great country, Nigeria. But suffice to say that these raw materials, some of them are taken out illegally to foreign countries where we go back to buy them as finished products. So now the enabling environment which we are going to provide will now encourage these foreigners to come in and establish their country into the special economic zones or the free trade zones, so that they can now process it and now do what? Export. And the advantage of it is that we will now bring about the foreign direct investment, foreign exchange earning. It will create enormous employment for our teeming youth, while also linking the local communities by backward and forward linkages, among creating a sustainable business environment. Now, we also have this operating license that we issue. Once we issue you our operating license, you don't need to go to CAC to get your license, because it is only the free trade zone that only Mr. President declared the place as a free zone. And that is why in about 49 locations we are in Nigeria, we make bold to say even the recent launched Dangote refinery is also located within the free zone in one of our quadrants in the Lekki of Lagos. And I don't need to mention that we all know what is going on around that side. During my MD's welcome speech, he did mention that we look forward to have in Oyo State the first gemstone special economic zones or free trade zone. Now we also have other things. When you are importing your machineries, I'm trying to give us this because it is important we use this opportunity to let the participants know why we are here. When you are importing your machineries into this zone, there is duty-free, tax-free import of raw materials. If you have to bring in the equipment, machineries, even the components that you use, there is no tax associated with it. So you can see why we are the best option for these gemstone industries and sectors to thrive. We also have permission to sell 100% inside the country. So if you want to do that, you are allowed to do that, but on payment applicable duties, a payment of the applicable, like in the customs, because one, the free zone is supposed to be a foreign territory. So if you are exporting into Nigeria, it is believed that you're exporting, into another country. Now, we also have 100% ownership. So tell them, I was discussing with one of the exhibitors who told me that she's always traveling to Hong Kong and whatever. And these things are being taken from Nigeria. So tell those your friends now, or those your partners, that they can come into Nigeria. They should not have any fear. They have 100% ownership of their business. It's guaranteed by the scheme. In addition to that, you also have waivers for all imports you are going to do. Then, one good thing is that if you are locating in the free zone, for the first 6 months for our own zones, you are given 6 months rent free where you start your business. And finally, it is important to know, how do you now come into the scheme? You can come in as a developer, as a free zone manager, or you come in as an enterprise. Because to be a developer entails a lot of capital. So we encourage you, we give you the umbrella to visit some of the zones already we have. So you can take the form and now locate as an enterprise. And most of these free zones offers a pre-built company that you will take advantage of. So you don't need to start looking for money to start building a factory inside the free zone. So that's why we are here to make this very important explanations to the very distinguished participants. Then we also want to say that the approval for this is seamless. Once you take the form, you do the necessary things, you submit your EIA, environmental impact, you submit all the necessary things. We make sure that within a time frame, we're able to give you this approval. And we also have a department, the investment promotion and the investor services department, which I am also working as a deputy director. We do the before and after care services by helping you to ensure that we give you all the necessary assistance for you to come in. Because I've already been told that I have 2 minutes. Finally, I want to sincerely thank the organizers for bringing us to the ancient city of Oyo to witness this median edition of the GEMS sector under the theme enhancing the mine-to-market value chain for economic, I call it for economic and shared prosperity. Thank you and God bless you.
There is an addendum from one of our guests. Please go ahead. Sorry, please. Let me quickly make this observation. Let's assume you say mining is capital intensive. You don't want to go into full mining, you want to buy and sell. Join GMAN. We call license to purchase and process minerals. License to purchase, you can buy and you can trade with it, move with the minerals. You come to the ministry, we give you all the requirements. Likewise, that license enables you to move with the mineral within the country. Then if you want to take it outside the country, then obtain what we call export clearance certificate. Export clearance certificate. Also, if a novice here that in my area state, I want to know where I can have minerals available in this state. Sorry, I want to recognize the zonal coordinator in charge of Nigeria Geological Survey Agency. Madam, please, ma'am, let them, if you want to do any information, this myself, I want to know the minerals in this state. Please, you get our contact and see her. Thank you. Hello? When
one of our speakers was talking. Anyway, I hope when the question and answer session begins, you have the opportunity of raising some of these issues that you've had and you have concerns about. Let me make it abundantly clear. The intent of this event is not to cast any ethnic group in any negative form, right? I was asking one of the organizers about one of our guests here, and I was told it's also from China, it's Chinese. I know one of our speakers spoke about how a particular nationals have been managing our resources, especially when it comes to issue of that we're actually discussing now. Whether it's only them or others, I think we'll have the opportunity of learning from security agencies that are there. But I do not really think this particular crime is only committed by a particular national in this country. That's the essence of having this kind of conversation we want to have today. I'm sure there will be clarity of that purpose. I'm also aware that a few days ago, the popular lawyer, Femi Falana, was talking about $9 billion worth of gold being stolen from this country. He spoke about people moving this gold with private jets. I don't think it's someone that we just, speak without having its facts. That is serious. For a nation that is looking for dollars, we're losing close to $9 billion from people preferring our gold. Security agencies, Let me acknowledge some of the dignitaries that are just here. MCA office, Zona 8, Mr. Enshaw, thank you so much for coming. Can you just stand up for recognition? Yes, he will be one of our speakers when the time comes. Let's also celebrate some of the national officers of the association, talking about Jima National Coordinator for Northwest, Alhaji Uman Abbas. You're welcome. And we also have that one for the North Central, Mr. Dose. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. Let's welcome next the MCO, Zona 8, Mr. Enshaw, as he delivers his own presentation. A round of applause for him, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. I stand on the existing protocol. Yes, I just want to shed more light with what my acting permanent secretary said. Yes, the Nigerian Mining Cadastral Office was established in 2007. It has the sole responsibility for the management of mineral resources, titles in Nigeria. This state office has been established in the 6 geopolitical zones Nigeria. We have the Southeast Enugu, North Central Jos, Northeast Maiduguri. We also have Northwest Kaduna. Then we have Southwest Ibadan, which I'm privileged to be the zonal cadastral head. Now, the mining cadastral office, like I said, has the sole power to issuance of and management of licenses in Nigeria. According to Section 5(1) of the Nigerian Minerals and Mining Act. So now, I'm the head of the southwest region of the Federal Republic of Nigeria comprises of Lagos, Osun, Ekiti, Ondo State, and Oyo State. The office, gone are the days where people go to Abuja to lodge in application. For the southwest region, you can come to Iwo Road to lodge in your application instead of going to Abuja to do that. We as the southwest region, we have been given power to receive applications here. Our application comprises of exploration license, quarry lease, small-scale mining lease. We also have mining lease. We can do that here. It may interest you that the Mining Cadastral Office, we just launched on the 2nd February by the then former President Muhammad Buhari. February 2nd, we launched an EMC Plus, an electronic mining cadastral office. You can be anywhere and submit your application online. To shed more light, you can come to Iwo Road, my contact is here, to run any activities. Furthermore, our vision, we provide an independent, efficient, and transparent mining cadastral system, which grants and administers mining licenses and permits in accordance with the best international practices. Our vision is deliver service reliably, effectively, and professional using objective standards and procedures in accordance with the provision of the enabling law of the mining of. Our core values. Priority number 1, first come, first served. 2, use it or lose it. What I mean by this is that the licensed activities must be carried out actively. Don't just apply, you must work. If you don't work, you lose it. You lose the certificate, the instruments. Objectivity based on legal defined sets of regulations and procedures. Number 4, non-discretionary, same rules for all. Transparency upon the consultation of the maps and registers. 6, security of tenure. Arbitrary termination before end of the title validity. So, I'm here to also let you know that electronic mining cadastral has made the mining activities, mining business, we have simplified it. You can be anywhere in the world to lodge in with this new electronic mining cadastral office. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Last but not least, let's have the representative of the Export and Promotion Council, NEPC, now. Let me also say this. The rule is this. After all must have been said and done, we allow you to begin to weigh in. You have just 2 minutes, if you are tapped, to ask any question, and we will be observing gender balance. Men seem to have been talking. all along today, apart from the national secretary. So the representative of NEPC, can you just please step out? We understand you are here. Export and Promotion Council. Okay, we've been told that we should go for the question. So, gentlemen, guests, ladies, can we have your hands in the air? If you have questions for our wonderful panel here, just raise your hand and okay, one, two. Where are ladies? Now they use this thing. Oh yeah, now. How do we know confirm? How do we know panda? Okay, the first two, I'm going to start from here, then I'll go to the one. And let us know who your question is going to.
Thank you very much. The audience, good afternoon again. My name is Kelly Analyst again, and I'm the President, Miners of Nigeria. I first of all want to appreciate all our agencies here, especially the Immigration Service and the NSDC for the work that you have been doing in terms of regulating and controlling all this legality in the minefield. I want to say, number one of my comments is that we, as much as we appreciate the mandate of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, I want to observe from the point of an operator that your men are not so feasible in our mining sites. Where we expect you to please, to come and help us to control all these illegal miners that are ravaging our legitimate concessions. What we do experience is that your men are always on the road, trying to check mine products going out. Why this is not out of place, we expect that at least you should be more visible also in the sites that we are having serious challenges of illegal miners troubling our operations. I want to also, we have been saying this one that this security is a national problem, but it seems as if mining is being stigmatized of late. And I think this is as a result of the fact that mining is located, most cases, far into the bush. And we learned, even from your own records, both immigration and civil defense, that some of these people that are tax bandits, most of them are non-nationals. They are not Nigerians. Because the Northwest, the Northeast are having this serious insecurity and banditry in the minefield. They bordered our foreign nations, foreign neighbors. So I think the ball is in your court to help us to calculate the influx of all these illegal aliens who are constituting problems on our minefield. The question that I want to ask, we go straight to the presentation of the zonal mines officer. Constitutionally, mining is in the exclusive list. And all the laws guiding mining, regulating mining, they are all federal laws. But what we observe these days is that states, they are using, relying on some issue of revenue and environmental issues to control mining. And this is not out of place entirely. But we just want to observe that the law and the constitutions have made enough provisions for anything that the state would like to do in terms of regulating mining. Take for example, in the Nigerian Minerals and Mining Act, we have the Mirenco. Each state or division has a Mirenco. If any state does not have, then that means that they are the one at fault. And the Mirenco is populated by mostly state officers. And the function of Mirenco is to make sure that all these environmental issues are mitigated in whatever form they can do it, and to settle conflicts. We also know that in the law, there are 13% derivation for the states. Whatever revenue that's accruing from mining to the federal covers, at the end of the day, the 13% of it goes to the state where the revenue is generated. So the issue of revenue and environmental issues are taken care of. Then coming to the issue of now setting up task forces to control illegal mining. The issue is that this is the agency of government, the ministry and all these agencies. They are the parents to miners. They are the one who give us name. And any outsider cannot just come and identify who is a bastard and who is a legitimate child in the family. So the state government does not have the competence to determine who is an illegal miner without recourse to the federal mines officer in the state, because there is no state without the federal mines officer. And in each zone, there are mining cadastral offices, which means that even if they are not clear concerning legality of an operator, they can approach any of these offices. And any task force, any committee set up to control mining, to regulate mining, is an aberration. It's contrary to the law and the constitution. And I think our state governors, they are the most privileged group of society that they have ample opportunity. They have so many platforms that they can use, even if it means they are calling for the review of the constitution and the law. By virtue of their offices, they are members of the National Council of States. By virtue of their offices, they are members of the National Economic Council, and also they also have the Nigerian Governors Forum. They can use any of this forum to call for a review, whether the law or the constitution. Because when we are now handling these artisanal miners who are making a living out of mining, and all of them, we now regard them as bandits, as illegal miners, put them in jail, detain them. What of this issue of not following the law and the constitution? Is it not an illegality as well? So, and what baffles us is that when they establish these task forces, all the support agencies who are federal agents, they are part of it, without looking at what the law says. What is happening in Taraba now is an eyesore. It is a very serious issue, and you will know that the whole world is transiting. There's energy transition going on now, from petroleum to fossil energy to green energy, and we cannot start on this shaky ground. If we are moving, if we want to transit with the whole world, we cannot start on this shaky ground. I think we need to do things right. This is my question. And my comment here.
When I saw Baba with the 4 pence in his pocket, this should have been your seat too. You didn't ask a question. You made remarkable observations. Quick one.
Thank you, sir, for your comment. You almost answered the same question about conflict between the state and the federal. You mentioned about Mirenco, but the benefit of those in the Act, like I said, it's our own Bible. Section 19 is the establishment of state minerals and environmental management committee. Then who are the members of the committee? He said the committee in each state shall consist of a representative of the Mines Environmental Compliance Department. Then second, a representative of the ministry responsible for the land matters in the state. The mines officer responsible for the state, they are the one. Then the third in the committee is representative of the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry in the state. A representative of the Surveyor General of the state. A representative of the local government council when matters affecting the local government. A representative of the state environmental department or agency. A representative of the Federal Ministry of Environment. The committee comprises of about 9 states, about 7. That's why we try to enlighten the state that they should collaborate. Like I said, issue of mining embedded in the federal government. States are giving opportunities for us to work together through Mirenco. If we can work together, if there's any illegal or any company that's not paying due to the federal government, because it's when federal government generate their revenue, the state can collect their own 13%. But the challenge you are facing now is that sometimes some state will say, this is our land, this is our state, we want to be collecting, going contrary to the constitution. Until the constitution is amended, solid mineral is still exclusive right of the federal government. I don't know that right now we're here. I don't see whether is there anybody from the Oyo state government in this forum. That's the challenge we are facing. By the time any issue arises in mining, nobody that can take this information back. He is there. They have 7 out of the 9 committee that we can go together and work together as well. And also, my president, you may mention that you are not be seeing the presence of the security agency. Is that the challenge you are still facing? Anything, any issue concerning mining, you write the ministry. We are the one that now with our collaboration and synergy with all the security agencies to go to the site. I beg to be corrected. Only few can identify the minerals. You write us, then we call them, then we go out together. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, my Sedemu. What I'm saying is that instead of seeing them, whether through you or through another means at the mindset to assist us, their men are always on the road. That is number one. But my question is that why are these our federal security agencies collaborating with state government to set up another task forces? Because in 2018, if I could remember, Dr. Kai Ribari as minister set up a mine surveillance team in all the states and then we empower them with a HELOS vehicle. This surveillance team, they are in all over the state. Why can't the state leverage on this structure to control whatever illegality they feel is happening in their state as against setting up a different entity? And our security agencies are always part of that kind of illegality, so to say. Thank you. Why?
Point out the same issue. The state want to state is not here. That's what okay. Like I said, sir, I can see several before the answer. Like we now, we're having some challenges all over. Ponds everywhere. I came into this state now almost 1 year. I've not collected the normal DTA for the movement, even to work with the security agency. I would say to you now, if you want to go out, security agency will have me to feed their vehicle. I will feed their vehicle. Where will I get the money? I know sometimes some people say they don't feel our impact. We do all the best we can. But we still want to feel your guys here. Please talk to your people that we have not been giving any assistance they can give to us. And we can manage ourselves when the country is stabilized and we're getting enough funds. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think it's been a recurring problem, and it's rather unfortunate that we have these agencies, especially for enforcement, and they are not being properly funded. I was in Abuja last Thursday, Friday, and it was quite disturbing when I was told that even the MCO is not being properly funded. That is an agency that is collecting billions of naira for the federal government. Instead of them to now put some money so that you can be able to get more, into the coffers of the state. They are talking about even sometimes financing some of these things from their pockets. The same thing with the zonal mines, office, all the inspectorate offices. And this thing has been that way decades. Normally when you in my department, because I operated in the ministry before and I was in charge of budget at a stage for the department, And what we used to do was to give them allocation on quarterly basis. The allocations were not enough then. But now you hear things like they need to go for sometimes up to a year without even any allocation. You buy them new vehicles, you are not providing them with the recurrent, money to be able to fuel the vehicle. And also when officers go to the field, they are supposed to be paid allowances. So I think one of the things we may want to resolve here at this conference, which we will take to the ministry, is that there is need for proper budgetary allocation to the ministry so that you can be able to enhance their capacity to be able to implement and enforce, the rules. Because for your state here is quite a very big, that's a massive area with some rugged terrain all over the place. Except you can fund. The same thing with Kwara. At the stage, I was a federal mines officer in Kwara. And by the time you want to leave from Ilorin all the way to Barutin and all the rest, you are going to travel quite a long distance. So, and most of it, as at that time, these guys are even better off. As at that time, we had no four-wheel vehicle. I had to be using my own Nissan Patrol, and then you have to fuel it if you want to go and even see whatever is happening. And the operator will have to now be the one to even fund your movement. That is, even before you start regulating or enforcing, you're already compromised if they have to be the one to provide the funds for you to move around. So I think one of the things, like I said, we have to do is there must be a resolution here that there is need for a substantial increase. And I wonder why people in charge of the ministry have not been able to make that case. Because all you need to do is ask for the fund and show them the revenue profile. If you invest so much in this agency, in this ministry, this is what we can be able to bring in terms of revenue. Because they talked about, the MC was talking about what Barrister Balano talked about. We were all disturbed in the mining industry by that information because it was really huge. And the truth of the matter is that they are not based in any fact. Because we talk about people flying gold out of the country. No. The only company that we know that is mining gold on a very big scale is Segilola in Elisha. And they are declaring their winnings and they are paying their royalty in billions. So that is the thing. So, but of course, some of these things, if we don't have all our facts, then people can be running away with all sorts of information and then rumors, and misconceptions and misrepresentation all over the place. Thank you so much.
My name is Abiola Adegboyega. I want to put up a question to the security agencies and the ministry. The first question is this. The ministry said before we can seek the help of the security agencies, we should write to them. That's what the law says. But this can be made easier if the security agencies are well equipped with how they can identify all these mineral resources, with the knowledge or technical know-how of how to recognize all these resources. Because before we get to you, maybe some deed has been done already and we're chasing wins afterwards. The security agency should have a department that has a professional body that can identify stones. We know about oil theft, and that can be seen on the IC. It can be easily identified. But these solid minerals, especially the precious ones, if you have a suitcase of sapphire and you have a vessel load of crude oil, you might be having more money with that briefcase than a whole vessel of crude oil. So this is more important to me than chasing the vessels on the IC. And these are going out of the country in daily basis as a theft, especially in our borders. I was going to Accra one day. I passed through some borders. I saw it with my eyes. Some guys going with precious stones out of Nigeria. Are those ones, did they pay their royalties or they paid all the dues? But the security agencies at the border, they cannot identify. Sir, please, sir, in due respect, sir, can you identify Sapphire at his age? Can you identify Tourmaline if you see one now? So how can you apprehend theft in regards to that?
So
there should be a department in all the security agencies that can identify technically all these things. Because if you don't, if you are chasing oil theft, there are some other minerals that are costlier, more valuable than chasing all these vessels. And it's going out of the country in daily basis.
Not necessarily using private jets.
Yes. My second question. This is an avenue to create jobs for the youth, no doubt. There are three technical ways of creating jobs and making the economy robust. One of it is gem cutting, facetting, lapidary art, as we call it. If you take Nigerian stone abroad to any exhibition, you will be interested in buying it raw. If you take it as faceted stone to any exhibition, they will frustrate you. You won't be able to sell. Now, if you equip the youth with that technicality and the facets and they cannot sell, that will be a problem. The ministry should have a way, which I propose to the state government. They respect Ida Obastin so much. Even if you want to sell a cut stone in any exhibition in the world, they will tell you, is it faceted in Germany? So why can't the ministry work with G-Man, which I've proposed? We can synergize, we can train, synergize the faceters. They can have a name of Ida Obastin on their costumes, and it will be acceptable in any exhibition in the world. So if the ministry is interested, we have everything you will need to be able to achieve that already.
That's a good one. Thank you so much. Before reactions, let me acknowledge some of our guests that are also here, especially the contingent from Osun State. The Permanent Secretary, can you just please step up and come straight to the IT table here as well? Permanent Secretary, Minister of Commerce and Industry, Osun State, Mrs. J.K. Odediran. Madam, can you please rise? Mr. Odediran. Oh, please. Emma Boniwaju, many thanks. In the entourage of the Permanent Secretary, we have Director of Industry, Osun State, Mr. Tajuddin Adibu. You're welcome. Thank you so much. We also have Mr. Yini Onigide, Deputy Director of Industry, Osun State, about Mr. Awotunde, Director of Finance and Accounts, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Thank you so much for coming. Mr. Olasu Komi, Director of Administration and Supplies, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and of course, Mr. Olukunle Abimbola, Assistant Director, Industry. Thank you so much. Oh, full house. Anyways, it's well understood. Good one, the Bishop. Amaris Dekwabi, you want to learn more. Are we going to have reaction to what we just heard from him? From civilian agencies?
I want us to take this one serious. Each organization, like I said, we have collaboration and we have our function cut out. Anything mining, trade of minerals is mines and steel. Even right now, I actually came back from Abuja on Saturday because of my other program. For the whole week I was in Abuja. We are now working towards gathering our own staff at the airport and also border now. That's even before I came, that's what they are discussing on. The challenge we are facing is that this lack of employment. We are short of staffs, but they are working towards it now. Trying to get waivers. Like in my office now, technical staff to see over or your state, we are not more than 3 or 5. I can imagine that. But we are working towards it. So that it's when we have our own staff there, they can identify there immediately, instantly there, and part or give you the normal fine or sanction to pay on that material, or refer you back to go and obtain the necessary permit and licenses. We are working towards that in Abuja. Then secondly, about finished products, thank God, like I said, it's a dream come true of GMA. Our ministry, we have, as the regulator, and we have been trying that no mineral should go out of this country raw, but you know, Nigerians. But with GMA now, if GMA can make noise, start making noise, and make sure that you make the ministry your second home. Do not be far from the ministry. Like now, we are very lucky, Oyo State and GMA, even started in Oyo. We have a big international Gemstones center. I expect the Miners Association and GMA now to quickly be among the first set of people that will go and welcome the Professor Dr. Dele Alake, and citing that at least what I'm proposing in my own case that I want to do so that Southwest, if they can be given one out of 50, one each state as the Miners Association of Nigeria, so that we can kickstart the building. GMA, please try. You are the one that can help the ministry. You cannot help here. You are the one in charge of this now. Finished product, cutting and polishing. The ministry from the state, any assistant. You can see we don't need to follow up. I could remember when they hit on lithium all around. The minister said that he went to this, is it one out of the foreign company that you can only come except you make a factory to be producing lithium in Nigeria, not that to be taking out our raw. But up to today, a lot of raw lithium is going out of the country. I think that's what the security agency is part of the millions they are missing. If we can help us, there's a company we are trying to locate very close to Obere, that they are the one buying most of the raw lithium. We can get our information right. They are going to collide with the security to go and bombard that place. All those raw material will confiscate it until they produce a factory in the country. For that, sir, I hope I've answered you, sir. On face said, you are depending on.
Okay, reactions?
Just let me reiterate again that as far as NSCDC is concerned, there is an MOU that we signed with the federal or the Ministry of Mines and State Development on how to eradicate illegal miners and the activities from the nation. So we cannot do that job on our own. We can't go out on our own, just like Rafi said. We work together. They, inform us, they send signal to us, we are going out to this area, so and so. Then we move together. We, like somebody said, earlier on, we might not be able to identify all these solid minerals or what have you, or we have to identify the license, all those things. They know which one is genuine or fake, or one that has expired, or what have you. So we work on their own, instruction. Let's go do this, arrest that, this. The one our guy is talking about the state, where maybe I'll find out. But we work with the mines and state of federal office. Thank you.
We said we could have gender balance, and can we flip to our sisters, mothers here? Okay, let her have. I also hope you talked about lithium, right? I'm aware because during the campaign, we did follow Governor Seyi Makinde to some local government, and we were in Okeyo in one of those campaigns, and he said the information he has indicates Okeyo is sitting on top massively jump. Is that correct? Is that where this ongoing illegal activity is going on?
Hello.
Okay. That gets anyway. Lithium. Okay.
Hello.
So, madam.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here. I'm Ms. Ngola Bobwe, Valiant Mines Nigeria Limited. I'm here to just witness what is going on about Gemstones. And I'm here to let people know that this business is very, very interesting. I am not a geologist but by calling. I'm here by calling. And I thank God since I've entered this business, I've never regretted it. I've sent so many, most of Nigeria has for universities graduated with the little I am. I don't want people to run away from Gemstones mine. My Oga is my brother here. And he is one of my mentors, Professor Benga, to you and the geology man and my mentor. Major Shagaya, I started my prospecting with Major Shagaya's license, DD, since 1996, and the business is 1996. And I thank God for the knowledge I acquire in it. I don't want people to run away. I'm always scared of when people say that mining is capital intensive. Mining is capital intensive. When people hear mining is capital intensive, they will run away. And it's not like that. But with knowledge, when you learn, and if government can back people up, they will realize that it's not as intensive as they are capitalizing on it, that it is intensive. On lack of knowledge. I can remember when I was working at Ogun State, we were concentrating on gemstones, quality one, not knowing that we have associated minerals that we can use to continue our mining. This site continue collecting money before we realize that our labourer, they've sold us many tons of tantalite. Whereas both the gemstones and the tantalite mica works together. But because of lack of knowledge, people will be just collecting money. Then apart from that, I can remember this mica, when I was working at Ogun State, one of my senior Oga from the Ministry Office visited my site. He said, Madam, he said, this mica you are wasting because we used to bag it to enter pit to see what the miners are putting there when they want to load site. And I said, this mica, the day will come when you will start looking for it, that you will search for it, because we know that mica is exportable mineral. And these days, they have come together. Now for you to now say that mica is capital intensive, you can use associated minerals to fund where you are going. Please, and I want to encourage our women, don't run away from this stuff. Come in. There are rock stones that these Malian Gandras carry up. We can use it as well to train our youth, to empower them. Women, we can empower them. Why must we be having this rock stone wasted and carry just cheap price and take away? They will take it down here and tumble it, press it, and bring it back as paid. Why? But these are the things our youth can use to train our youth, to empower them. If they can give it, mining is a teamwork. Let's gather 10.
Ìyá Abúlé Ṣòwò, ẹ bá mi fún àwọn bàbá ní àtẹ́wọ́. Let's appreciate her. She's been a living example of what we are doing today. Gemstone business is a good business. I want to be Tomo Losilewe. Nice one, madam. Really appreciate you. And we're going to have another female, Obirini. No, Obirini. No, I want nígbà tí ó sóbìnrin. Àwọn màmá tí wọ́n fárígá ẹlẹ́ni kò sóbìnrin, obìnrin wà ní.
of Nigeria Geological Survey Agency in Ibadan here. That's for the southwest zone. I want us to know something from the scratch. So we are here for the Gemstone Miners and Marketers Association of Nigerian Conference, the very first one. But then, before we start talking about mining at all, before we start talking about mining at all, there are some steps to take, which I would like all of us to know. You have to think about the location first. The area you are actually looking for to get what you really want. Because generally, when we talk about how Nigeria is being distributed, you know, we have the basement area, we have the sedimentary areas. For the basement areas, like places with rocks that we can see for the layman, there are some minerals associated that we can see in such areas, different from the places on the sedimentary, like places like Lagos, where you really see rock surface, like places like maybe Port Harcourt, places like Cross River, where you see more of clay, because a lot of people do have that misconception that it's only in rocky areas where you see gems or minerals. But in sedimentary areas like that, you still see some type of clays that are of economic value. There are different types of clays. You have these red ones, like the Montremonite. Other types, like the one we use, like even talc, the one we use as women for powder to make our makeups and so on and so forth. We have ball clay. We have different types of minerals of such that may not be of gem quality, but it's still very of economic value. Then, before you even think of going into this, my own ministry is into mapping. We go into exploration work, because for you to be able to say, okay, I want to mine gold, I want to mine maybe gemstones of any quality, you first have to know that, okay, the location, the coordinates where you want to get those minerals, you have to take them into consideration. You just have, so the area has to be mapped first for you to know. So the location is important, and we are as an agency of the government, we are into that area. Anytime, maybe as an individual or maybe a corporate body, if you want to go into such, you can come to any Nigeria Geological Survey Agency office, either the one located in Ibadan here, if you are here. People in Osun State, they can go to Osogbo. There's one at Ogun State, so and one at Lagos. So there's one in Akure too for the southwest. I'm only giving examples of such. There are others, you know, distributed around the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, where you can actually be, given the information, at least the information you require for you to do something, not blindly, for you to know the area you are actually to prospect eventually. And so such areas are available too in the agency. You can come around to have them, maybe to buy them. They are made paper maps that will be a guide for you if you want to go into mining. This is all I have for now.
Thank you so much. I do understand some other people would love to interact with our panel. Well, we're working based on time schedule, and the convener have asked us to put a plug on that, right? We're going to have Dr. Ayo Dada, who is going to speak to us on the power of gemstone for, guess what? Healing. I'm particularly because I'm also a very inquisitive individual, and one of the things that seems to have driven my own interest, especially in the world of science, I'm fascinated about the science of alchemy. We've been told folks in the past have tried to see how they can work on base metals and convert them to gold. And I think Jimansu should invest heavily in that, Abby, in the science of alchemy. So we will be informed about how we are going to get to know about the power of Gemstone when it comes to spiritual healing. And for those that are called by God Almighty to start their ministry, listen to Dr. Ayodada, who is going to come in shortly. But my guest, before I'm going to ask you to stand up for group photograph, any remark, just 1 minute from what you have heard that you believe can be of good help to our guest.
Thank you very much. From what the GIC, Nigerian Geological Survey, has said, when you go to the site and get lat long, that is X and Y, longitude, latitude, you can easily come to the Nigerian Mining Cadastral Office here. We have a cadastral map. You get the points to check for the availability of the area of interest you're mining. You can equally come to my office and check, get the coordinate from where the bush. You can come and check whether it's free. We take it for you, it's free, then we now transform the coordinate for you to quickly apply. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. What I want to say, the truth is that the sector from available records about 3%, and we are looking forward by 2030 to be about 10% to the Nigerian GDP. Now the question is this: for those of us that are practitioners, why have the sector attained full potential? So I want to take this down for us to move from where we are to be able to compete globally. Number one is lack of adequate funding. You can see many of the agencies have mentioned that when they want to go to site, there is no money to do this. Then we're also looking at inadequate infrastructure investment. We're also looking at insufficient government policies or coordinated policies. Then lack of advanced technology, because why is these foreigners taking this thing outside? We don't have the wherewith, the technology to be able to process these things. Then we also look at the inadequate geodata on the mine deposits. I was asking my friend here, I said, do you have where I can go to the website and have record of all the mines sites? And also capacity. Do we really have the capacity to do what the foreigners are doing? Then we also know that my brother have also mentioned it, we have conflict with the local communities. So that brings the sector into what I call continuous engagement, to know that the community is also part of the blueprint already done from what my brother from the ministry have just said, that the government have included every state local government in all their policies. Then of course, do we really have the sufficient skills? Because these things are mainly done with a lot of technicalities to be able to get into that international best practices. Then of course, we are looking at the absence of functional gem exchange. We all know that for you to import or export, you need this exchange. And you know you cannot do any business without having this exchange. Then of course, we have no technological know-how, old machineries in doing this, then outdated design, and also insecurity, and of course, corruption. So while we are drawing to an end, it is important that we know that these are the areas I feel that the organizers and the the organizers and the communique should be looking at how do we now improve on these things. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Of course, that will be imputed in the communique that may be issued at the end of the day when we're able to see this all through. Gentlemen, let's appreciate them. Can you? Oh, you want to have your remark?
Just very short remark. Mr. Adeboye, you were talking of, you said something about seeing security officers along Sene border, even when that was recently when you traveled along that line, that you saw gemstones being carried. You said you saw them physically being carried along the border, and nothing was done about them. But you are asking the role of the security agencies in trying to track such movements down. You see, we should understand that the issue of the security is not the job of security agencies alone. Security issue belongs to everybody. I was expecting to hear that you drew the attention of the security agencies to such when you said you have
for his own safety.
No, you have not done. Wait. No. Let me land. Can you just let me land?
No, you are still going.
Okay. If you had drawn the attention of the security agencies to that, actions would have been taken in respect of somebody who was trying to ferry our precious stone outside the country. That is the observation I wanted to raise.
So you are telling Nigerians here that when they see, they should talk. They should call the attention.
That is why we are talking about collaboration.
Your men, who, if they are not in cahoots with those guys.
No, we don't.
I say if they are not. Tẹ́bá ti dé bọ́dà, tẹ́bá ti rí blow whistle. Then you go and the whistle. Gentlemen, thank you so much, sirs. Can you just rise? Officials of GMAN, please do come and have a group photograph with them. They really added value to today. National Secretary and other national coordinators. You can spread out. Spread out. We moved. Okay. Be a good citizen. Report what you see. In your best interest. It's time for us to check out the power of healing. Dr. Dr. Ajayi, you have the floor now. 50 minutes. Hello. Okay. Dr. Dada, let's appreciate it, please. Let's appreciate it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I stand on all written protocol, and I first and foremost would like to laud the initiative of this laudable conference, because all around the world, as things stand now, there's a crystal revolution going on. Who of you here is aware of the fact that there's a current revolution going on regarding crystals? Is anybody aware? You're aware, you're aware, that's fine. And I'll tell you exactly what it is. This country is so full of potential. This country is actually called to lead the world. Anytime Nigeria emerges on the global scene, we take over. If it's music, if it's literature, in the arts, in the medicine, medical field, everything, just give the Nigerian a little opportunity and you will see him thrive. Now, these resources that the Almighty has endowed Nigeria with, the natural resources and the human resources that Nigeria is endowed with, imposes a great obligation upon this nation, because there's just so much and too much for everybody. We speak of a country that's in debt, that's borrowing loans. Why do you think we're getting those loans all the time? Because the people that give those loans just laugh at us and know just how much this country is worth. The wars in the north and co are meant to be Islamic wars, but we know that they're about the gems there. Nigeria has taken control of that now and says that the uranium, they want to take control of that. Nigeria has much more. Nigeria even has uranium. But that isn't even the reason why I'm here. I'm here to talk about gemstones as a healing resource. I operate a clinic in Lagos, the Lighthouse Healing Home at Ekowanjo. It's probably the first gemstone healing clinic in Nigeria. And I was providentially led into gemstone healing, because a lot of diseases that we contract here, medical science does not yet acknowledge these things as diseases. Because a disease, as we all know, is anything that puts you ill at ease. So that's why you say, this is. You can go to a friend's house or an auntie's house, and she's not treating you very well, and you're just not happy there. You're in a state of disease. And until you leave that spot, you will not feel at ease. You could be in a relationship with a spouse and hate that person. It happens a lot in today's marriages. A lot of pretense and hypocrisy were there because of the children. And so that person now starts to develop resentment for this partner, hatred for this partner, and yet in the public you see them driving out together. And then shortly down the line you'll hear that that woman has developed cancer. Cancer is linked to so much unforgiveness. As a matter of fact, there's no disease of the body that is not linked to one emotion or the other. The kidneys. Yes, thank you. The kidneys. The kidneys are associated with worry. When you start having renal failure, people that worry a lot down the line develop renal failure. People that are very, 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 very bothered, that have anger issues, develop migraines. These are things that we all know. Sometimes you get so angry and you lose energy and then you go to sleep. And these things pile up on your energy system and they form disease. Now we're going to get a little bit indigenous. We're going to get back to Nigeria. We're going to establish ourselves as Nigerians, as Africans, and as proudly so. Our herbalists, coming from our grandparents, way before the advent of modern day medicine and science, knew medicine more than modern medicine. And why? Because when you were ill and you walked up to an average gifted medical herbalist, he would go into the forest and would listen to what the guardians of nature would have to tell him about that person's peculiar condition. I'm not speaking of 200 years ago. I'm not speaking of 100 years back. I'm speaking of your grandparents. Even when COVID hit Nigeria in the 20s, are you aware that COVID was here before? Are you aware? You're aware? And that it was the Lagos State Medical Traditional Council with herbs that took care of COVID effectively. And that even in Gambia, you know, they came up with a very effective solution to COVID. But of course, we know how it happens on the world stage when the Western pharmaceuticals have to push a product. If it gets too ambitious and too aggressive, then assassins start to change around the whole place. And that's serious. There's even a president or two who was nearly assassinated like 3 times during the COVID era for daring to tell the world that his country had found a solution to COVID. So we're coming back home to what God has given us. We have herbs of all shades, colors, mucilages, and other different characteristics that heal the different ailments of the body. Some are even shaped like the organs of the body. And you can tell, oh, this plant deals with this. Some have colors that will tell you what they're directed to. So we ask ourselves, gemstones, what are gemstones? We're speaking of the financial consideration of gemstones alone. But that is not where gemstones started at all. Even in the Bible, all the priests in the Bible had breastplates that contained gemstones. What do you think those gemstones represented? Even Muhammad, the prophet, used gemstones. Are you aware? What do you think they represented? We now have to understand what the relationship with these gifts of the earth are with the physical body. Because the physical body, as known to most of us, are run by the organs, right? The organ system, the heart, the kidneys, the lung, the spleen, and all this. We all agree? So what runs those organs? I'm asking questions, so it's interactive. The heart pumps blood around the system. What runs the heart? What runs the lungs? What runs the brain? You say the brain, you think of your brain. So what runs the brain? What energy runs the brain? This is where crystals come into play. Because the earth itself is a living entity. Are you aware? And in the body of the earth, you have crystals. Crystals are crystallizations of light, and they transmit and they receive. Are you aware? And for that reason, and I'll get a little bit spiritual or biblical or logical. When you roll the 7 different colors in the prism, what light do you get? What color do you get? White. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Spun at a high frequency gives you white, right? Good. And everything started with light. Let there be light. And we know today that everything is radiation, right? Good. So these crystals embodied in the middle of the earth are the receivers of cosmic energy that keeps the globe itself alive. Because even the life force of the earth has to be sustained from the energies of the universe. And so the earth itself is attracting energies sustained by the crystals in the middle of the earth. Some places, some crystal caves that you can't go near because when you get to the energy is too intense. Even on Earth, there are crystals like uranium. Who knows uranium there? Who knows uranium? You know that uranium is... You can't handle uranium without having cancer if you're not careful. You know there are other crystals that are also very dangerous. Are you aware that this thing that you're doing can put you in serious trouble if you put a crystal in your house without cleansing it before you bring it in? Are you aware? That you don't just carry crystals and say, I have bought a diamond, I'm taking it home. Because crystals record energy. That's why you hear the concept blood diamonds. Are you aware of what they call blood diamonds? People have killed to own those diamonds, and it's transmitted from hand to hand, hand to hand. Then one person buys it, and then when he puts that crystal in his house, everything goes wrong. I don't know what happened for the last 6 weeks. My house like this. My house has been upside down. Everything's upside down. Ever since he brought that diamond to his house like this, the house has been upside down. Because that diamond he has brought in. Are you aware that crystals can do that? If you're not aware, be aware today that kings and queens wore crystals on special occasions because of the spiritual property of the crystals. Diamond, for instance, now, diamond is a stone that enthuses the human being and ensures that whatever you will, you will do. So when the king goes forth to his people and wears a diamond crown, and he says, I speak to my people, it is law. Yoruba will say, Ashe. He speaks with diamond radiation flowing through him. It is law. He doesn't wear that crown every day. He's not wearing that crown because it's worth $6 billion. Oh. He's wearing that crown because of what that crystal represents and does. You know? So if that crystal now enters the hand of a person who is not mature for the crystal and says, I will kill, nothing will stop that person from killing. And so when you look at every zone of the world today that is associated with diamond, what do you see? In Liberia, in Congo, in South Africa, you see war, pillaging, disaster, and all sorts of disasters, because people can't handle the energy of the crystal diamond that is meant for the very mature spirit. But everybody can handle the diamond. So people own a diamond because it's precious. I have a diamond ring. And when he wears it, he starts to binge on drugs. He goes gaga sexually. No control. But he wanted a diamond ring. And some of you are wearing marriage rings today. What are the names of your crystals and what are they representing? Some of you are wearing sapphire. What does sapphire represent? What does gold represent? What does aquamarine represent? What does howlite represent? And I'll tell you that from practical experience, because when I said I was providentially led into crystal healing, it was really providence because I stepped into my office in the GRE many in the gallery then. But as I stepped in, pain on my left leg, on my right leg. Right. And I was wondering, what's this pain? I said, okay, to go. It didn't go. Okay. My friend came with me, like, what's the problem? I said, just pain. I cramped to go. It didn't go. To the left, I said, I'll be okay. And the pain now moved to the left leg. In about 30 minutes' time, I was paralyzed. I sat on the floor, unable to move. And whether you admit it or not, that is the reality of this environment. The energies that whiz through, which are not visible, but have an effect on each and every one of us. And I sat down on the floor, paralyzed. This was very late at night. Around midnight, when I realized I was going to die because of the pain, I just prayed. And then I slept for like 5 minutes. And in 5 minutes, I had a dream. One short man with a big head came. I said, what's wrong with you? It was very vivid. He said, my legs are hurting. He said, go use your crystals. I said, crystals? He said, yeah, go use your crystals. And it disappeared. So by the time I woke up, I wanted to ask this guy, what, can you repeat yourself? He wasn't there. And so somebody had gifted me a bowl of crystals, different colored crystals. I said, I just got to use your crystals. I crawled like a centipede to the windowsill, took the crystals, use your crystals, I just placed them on the leg and around the leg, and then my legs started to vibrate like a tambourine. It was like I was watching the movies. And it stopped. I think this is an experience you can barely narrate to a third party they can believe. Then when it stopped, it was just a very amazing experience. I lifted the right leg, no pain. I got up, I strutted up and down. That was my miracle introduction into crystals. Then, in the next day, a friend of mine came and she had goiter. She has goiter and she's scared. She doesn't want to go under the knife. I said, look, this was my experience only yesterday. Do we try crystals? He said, anything. So we fashioned a belt. I put crystals around her neck, which she wore for 3 days. I returned to loose. And when she got there in front of the doctors were like, examination, everything. It had disappeared completely. And I said, okay, this is real. I am going to make this knowledge known. Then I traveled to the States for about the holidays once. And I entered this crystal store. And when I got to this crystal store, I saw a woman come in. And she said, she was telling the attendant there, I'm having insomnia. And what can I do? And the woman says, okay, use howlite, a little bit of amethyst, and if you're emotionally disturbed, put rose quartz. So I sat down there like I didn't hear what she was saying. And another guy came and I said he had migraines. So migraines, oh, that's easy. Just use lapis lazuli, lie down with your face 10 minutes, it's all gone. And then another person came in and she was dispensing crystals like she would dispense drugs. I said, no, I have to go further. So I started reading about it. The same person that came in my dream came and said, Ayo, there are rules to crystal engagement. You must be simple-minded, you mustn't be greedy, you mustn't think evil for other people. There's enough for everybody. If you're simple and your thoughts are pure, then you will engage with the crystals at the level of the energy that they can show you. I said, okay, and I wrote down the 10 things that they told me. And I started preparing crystal remedies. And they brought someone that had cancer to the place. I said, these are the things that we are told you would use. Cancer is not meant to be a curable thing. And so when you use crystals, how many of you can feel the energy of crystals? When you hold crystals, you feel the energy. It's warm, right? You can feel the heat. How many of you can do that? Even if you can't feel it now, over time, you will start to understand that crystals are alive, that they have a heat that can connect to the energies. And that when you have like 100 different crystals on the ground, all of you will choose different crystals based on your energy affinities. What you don't have is what you unconsciously seek. So I like the purple. And purple is the highest spectrum on the energy band. And when you're purple, you are oriented towards being a spiritually guided person. If you like red crystals, that means you don't have enough energy and you want to power. So you need the vitality of red. Even in the clothing you wear, you know that colors mean a lot. And there's color therapy. And that crystals also work with color therapy. You see, all of you already know these things. So I'm not really speaking to an audience that's totally unaware. But you have to be aware of certain things. You buy a crystal, you're so excited about it, and you take it home. You're taking the energies of that crystal to your house. How do you neutralize the energies of a crystal that you're bringing home? Who knows? Yes, please. Thank you. What else? What else? Someone else should tell me. This information is on your phone, or you can Google it up. It's everywhere. Salt water neutralizes the energies of crystals that come from. Because I will never risk carrying a crystal I bought into my house. So. Some of you just say it is bad luck or bad something has happened. The minute you bring it in, you have brought in a lot of energy. Some of you go to hotels. You get to your room, say, I can't stay here. The hotel is very fine, beautiful, everything, but the energy of the hotel just chases you away. And they take you to a small hotel, you like the place, is the energy. So the crystals are receivers and transmitters of energy. You can also use salt, dry salt. Put your crystals in dry salt before you take them home. You can use incense. If you're very strong, you can use the volition to just, or prayers to cleanse the incense. But never take a crystal home that you have not cleansed. I know the crystal that is good for you. For instance, you can't sleep. You're having insomnia, you're very tired, or you're very stressed, and you want to sleep. What crystal would you use? You see, all of you are buying crystals for money. Nobody knows what the crystals are for. Oh, girl. Yes, please. Sapphire is actually a royal crystal. It's one of the highest vibration crystals that brings you into your element as a complete person spiritually for guidance. It's not just sapphire. Sapphire can do that when you're already there. But when you're just on the normal level. Rose quartz, when you're emotionally disturbed, you can use rose quartz. But if you just need to sleep, every day, Ibadan, Lagos stress. Crystal quartz is the master healer. It heals all conditions. It's not specific to sleeping. Amethyst is specific to sleeping. Just take amethyst, cleanse it, charge it, program it, and put it under your pillow and tell me your experience. You see, when you start to engage crystals at this level, then you understand why gemology. I was rather enthused when I heard
a woman speak that since the 90s that she studied crystals, that things have changed for her. And she sends her children through school. And it doesn't even have to do with the type of crystal, whether it is the gem quality or not, but that it will always pay you. That's because the energy of crystals will lift your environment, whatever it may be, especially if you're a very simple person. It will bring light into your environment. As a matter of fact, raw crystals are even more powerful for healing than faceted crystals. They unleash their energies on you. Then, the crystal called black tourmaline. Who knows what black tourmaline is for? Yes, please. For? Yes. Black tourmaline reduces pain, blunt trauma, but it also is guarding against psychic negative energy. You're in the market square, everybody's selling, you're not selling. Why? Your grandmother would have carried one stone and put it there and say, Ajay, right? Right? Is that juju? Not juju now. It's just the energy of the crystal that's then itself environment. The crystals that attract wealth. When you use citrine, attracts wealth. Pyrite attracts wealth as well. You know, I carry my crystals around the occasion. The blue sapphire is here. One of the crystals we spoke about. This is kunzite. This is green tourmaline. Green tourmaline for healers. Because anytime you have energy that's, I heal with the crystals, that's what I heal, the energy is going to get to you. So you need something that will protect your aura and that'll push away the negative energy. And I have labradorite here. It also has what it does. I also wear crystals. It's not a fashion statement. If I'm working on the person, I have to remove energy. I don't want the energy to get into my system. So I use the crystal as deflected. So when you start to use crystals with this level of understanding of what it represents, even gold, what is the spiritual meaning of gold? Who knows what gold is? It's on your phones. Google. You don't, it's nobility. It's happiness, it's abundance. There's sometimes you enter crystals like this, your life will change forever because you have certain crystals that are attracting light and pushing away the dark energies that are countering what you're trying to do. So before we go into the billion, million, zillion, understand that crystals are alive. We are living in, I could give a lecture for 2 weeks on the different aspects of crystals, but this is just a little introduction into what crystal healing is all about, using everyday examples of what it really represents. Thank you very much.
Who has received his or her healing now? Let's appreciate Dr. Ajayi once more. That's a good one. We will surely return for the lunch. Immediately after this next presentation, we'll be having technical paper presentation. It's going to be on the mode. Talking about the mode, genesis, and of course, control of gemstone mineralization, and it's going to be presented by senior lecturer, University of Jos, Dr. Teso Aga. Let's appreciate Dr. Teso Aga as he stepped out. Yes, right? It's your time. Yes. You're right. Yes, now. Because the energy is here now. We're all feeling the energy. Mode of occurrence, genesis, of course, control of gemstone mineralization.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm highly delighted to be here to participate in this Nigerian Gemstone Conference and Expo. And I want to specifically thank the National Coordinator and Zonal Coordinators of GMAN for giving me this opportunity to make this presentation. In the next minutes, I'll be talking on the mode of occurrence, genesis and controls of gemstone mineralization. Now, the first slide that you have there shows some of the common gemstones that we have in the country. And the first one that we have that is A is opal, that is rock. And the second one is amethyst. The third one is faceted moonstone. And then we have diamonds as D. And then we have various colors of tourmaline. Of course, we can see the various colors. The green one is called verdalite, the blue one is indicolite. We have the black one that is known as coal. And then we have bicolor tourmalines. And the last one that we have to the right is a watermelon tourmaline. And we also have rough sapphires that are displayed. Some of them we have even in the country. Now it's important as I begin the lecture to mention some key terms that will lay foundation for this conference. Because I understand that most of us that are here are from different and varied backgrounds. And so I've decided that part of my presentation will be a bit less technical so that we can all follow. The first definition I want to make is that of a rock. Now, the rock is an aggregate of minerals. And the mineral is defined as a naturally occurring solid, generally inorganic, with specific chemical composition and crystal structure. With time, you will get to discover that not all gemstones are actually inorganic, like the opal that I had highlighted in the slide before. And that's why, in the strictest sense of the word, this is the definition of a mineral. But broadly speaking, or sensu lato, it is wider than what we think. And as I highlighted in my book that was published in 2011 on how to perfect Nigerian gemstones, this definition caught my attention 20 years ago. And the reason is that gemstone is a mineral, but it is peculiar because of three reasons. One, it is because of beauty, because we get attracted to gemstones because of the luster or sparkle. You know, that's what attracts us to gemstones. So it is beauty that attracts us. The second thing is the rarity, and that's why, broadly speaking, gemstones are classified into precious stones that have been highlighted. We have only four: diamond, sapphire, emerald, and ruby. All the other gemstones, in the strictest sense of it, are classified as semi-precious. And it is because they are rare, they cannot be found anywhere, and that's what makes it precious. The third component that Ron, in its definition, gave is that it has to be durable. And that's why on the more hardness scale, which is between 1 to 10, most of the gemstones are from 4. And so you look at quartz, you look at topaz, and even the corundum family, which is sapphire and emerald, getting to 9, and of course diamonds as 10. Because if you categorize a mineral like talc that has 1 on the most hardness scale, of course it's not going to last. And that's why most of these gemstones have higher values when you look at the most hardness scale. Now it's important to state as I begin my presentation, because I noticed in the house that there are lots of ladies. And for us to be able to connect with the lecture is to look at the formation of gemstones as a process of making a menu like soup. It's important that you have ingredients. But beyond the ingredients that you need, you also need a source of heat. Whether it's a gas or stove, it's important that it's there. And then you need pressure. Some of you will remember your precious pots that you're able to cook your meat. And then you also need time. Time is very significant because if the ingredients don't have enough time, the food will be uncooked. And if it also stays longer than the required time, it's going to actually be burnt. And so the right timing is required for you to be able to have a good dish. And of course, you need the pot, because the pot signifies the space with which the volume of the soup or whatever dish that you want. So it's a similar thing that happens in the formation of gemstones. The place where we are seated right now is an interface between what we call the crust and the atmosphere. Now, from the surface of the earth down, the earth has been compartmentalized into three. You have the crust, which is where predominantly most of our gemstones are formed. And then you also have the mantle. Now, some of the magma that gives rise to most of the gemstones come from the mantle. And then you have the core. The core is predominantly made up of cobalt, iron, and nickel. Now, there's no information available that gemstones come from the core. So in the course of this presentation, we're going to leave the core out of it and then concentrate where we can find these gemstones. Now, the crust is made up of several plates, as most of you are aware. We're close to Lagos, and we know that the Atlantic Ocean is here. So the plates, that's the crust, they glide over what you call the asthenosphere. It glides, and some of it moves away from each other. So you have the gemstones that you may find in Brazil, the same with what you have in Nigeria, because once upon the time they were all together. And so the continents got separated apart. And that's why you have the Atlantic Ocean. But then in other places also, you now have these continents coming together. Now, those ones are called convergent plates. When this one happens, you find the continent that is heavier, subduct under, and the one that is lighter comes up. In the process, there's a lot of change in temperature and pressure conditions that give rise to some of the gemstones that are formed deep in the mantle to be able to come to the crust, where most of us mine the now, in the process where this happens, we can see from this, the lower part is the mantle. The lower part is the mantle. So most of the gemstones that are formed within the mantle get through the crust where you have those fractures and cavities. That represents the space through which most of the magma is able to get in place and we access them. Now, as I mentioned, that interface between the crust and the mantle is a tumultuous area. And what happens is that once there's a space within the crust, there's a reduction in temperature and pressure. And so most of what you have down, gets into the lower part of the crust where the conditions are very good for the crystals to form. But in the process of this opening, constant opening and closure, a lot of things happen. And so even in your crystals that you find, anytime you have slight different chemical composition, within the earth crust, sometimes you have color zoning in crystals. Sometimes these layers are also oriented and you have what is called twinning. It's very important to know some of those things because in the identification of gemstones, which you have to know before you buy, these are some of the characteristics. And then also you can have a situation where the crystal grows and then after some time you have another fluid come to grow on top of it, and then you have what you call as inclusions in crystals. You can also have a situation whereby there's incomplete bonding of layers that is seen as pattern. And this is an example of pattern that you have in star ruby. Ruby is one of the 4 gemstones that we classify as precious in the world. So, generally speaking, for those of you who need basic geography, you understand that rocks are classified into 3. We have igneous rocks, we have sedimentary rocks, and we also have metamorphic rocks. So the processes of the formation of these gemstones are also classified based on that. So the molten rock and associated fluids are what we have known as igneous processes where gemstones form. The environmental conditions which those stones also change due to changes in pressure and temperature without melting is what is known as metamorphic processes. And then we have the action of surface water. And also there are gemstones like peridotite and diamonds that form right in the Earth's mantle. So in order to help us understand this, if we look at the rock circle, you can find within the rock circle the magma which forms down beneath the earth. That magma, as it comes up, the process that leads to igneous rocks is called crystallization, and a lot of gemstones form in the process. These same igneous rocks will also get eroded and transported, and through a lot of other processes, you form sediments. There are also gemstones that form through that process. And then these same sedimentary rocks will also be metamorphosed into metamorphic rocks and eventually back to magma. Now, it's important at this point to mention that while there's a decrease in temperature and pressure conditions that leads to the deposition of the rocks and gemstones that we have through the igneous processes, sometimes there's an interaction of water that percolates down and meets with the magma. And then the magma becomes enriched in water. And then the water now is hot and it deposits a lot of gemstones along the line. That process is called hydrothermal processes. Sometimes you now have a situation where it is an increase in pressure, but then the temperature is not decreasing so effectively. You can have the formation of pegmatites in process. Now, these are some of the phenocrysts that you find even in granite. Most of it here is the blue quartz that you have. And then in the process also you can have gas crystallization. This gas crystallization comes to the surface violently, and sometimes those bubbles lead to the formation of crystals. Now, one of the very common gemstones that you find forming through gas crystallization is what is known as the Herkimer quartz. I know of many people that have bought this one as diamonds. In fact, one of my friends 20 years ago bought it as diamonds, and he lost 18 million naira as a result. We're excited that he was able to bounce back, but many people are unable to recover. And the reason why most of the people have and take this one to be diamonds is because of the double termination that it has. And so we need to be careful. And even recently, I think in the last 1 or 2 years, there are a lot of Herkimer diamonds that have been brought in, and most of them without certification, have brought in and they've been sold as diamonds. Most of it comes through Adamawa State, and then some of them we have seen them in Jos. And so we need to be careful for those of you who are going into diamonds. And then for the hydrothermal, as I mentioned, once the conditions are ripe enough, you are able to find emeralds like the ones in Colombia being formed this way. So if you look at that green part, it's the Muzo emerald that has been formed in Colombia. It is through the hydrothermal process. Then we also have a situation whereby the volatile-rich magma is sometimes forced in cavities where it cools. And in that case, we are able to have a lot of gemstones being formed. Now, if you look at this one, is a Himalaya pegmatite that we have a lot of tourmaline growing. If you look at that crystal, it's a bicolor tourmaline that grew from a pegmatite, and then right behind it is smoky quartz, and then by the right, the dark one is the dark variety of tourmaline that is known as cob. So within the same pegmatite, you can have different varieties of gemstones, being formed. Please, can you move the slide? It's not. All right. And then this is imperial topaz that you find in Pakistan. It is found within the Katlan pegmatite. and you find it growing. Most of it is actually albite. The albite is a form of feldspar that is predominantly made of sodium. That's where this one grows. And because we are mentioning pegmatite, it is important for us to bring home the point that in Nigeria, 75% of all the gemstones that most of you are engaged in, those of you who are new entrants into the business, will be searching for, are concentrated within the pegmatite belt of Nigeria. This pegmatite belt is a 400-kilometer belt in length, and then it is 150 kilometers in width. And some of these places that we have are located in red. So you can see that it stretches in the south, east, north, southwest, northeast trend. And most of it is where you have the gemstones located in Nigeria. Benga Okunola, who is a professor in this university, was able to document about 100 sites in 2017 where gemstones are mined. But my team also did an update in 2022, and we have 119 active sites right now that gemstones are mined just within the pegmatite belt of Nigeria. So as just a way of presentation, because I can't mention 119 within this time. In the southwestern part, we have places like Okeo, Shaki, Ijero, Ife, where most of the gemstones are sitting on. And then you also move and you find places in Lokoja, in Taban, okay? You still find a lot of gemstones that are there, active mines. And then you also find in Nasra Egon. Nasra Egon is in Nasra State, and Guantu, which is in Kaduna State. There are a lot of the emeralds that we have in the country that we get from these places. Bakia Yeni, Udegi, Doka, Kefi, axis, we are finding all sorts of tourmalines like the ones you have in the Oyo Valley, here. Most of it comes from this axis, and there are a lot of active mines, predominantly you have most of the rubellites, the red variety of it, but then also the indicolites too. We have found them, many people mining, and also vedolite. And we also have the skull, which is the black one in different parts. Then you also have a lot of things happening in Akwanga, Wamba, Bina axis. Now, most people in the past thought that sapphire is found only in Mambila and Tank, somewhere in southern Kaduna, but we are beginning to find very good varieties in Bina, which is close to between Bokos and Lafia East, that some occurrences are happening there. And then you also have some other yellow varieties that are happening into axis. So it's important that we know that. Then within Jos, and people have always asked, why is it that Jos has a preponderance of these gemstones? And you also know it as the headquarters of topaz in the world, white topaz. It's because you have this pegmatite belt passing through Jos, and you also have a contribution coming from the younger granite complexes, like the Zagon complex, and the largest younger granite complex in the country, which is the Jos Bukuru younger granite complex, have a lot of hydrothermal gemstones that also make their contribution to it. You also have other complexes like the Shakaleri complex that also produces a lot of gemstones. So you are having a geological belt that is a fusion of both the pegmatite and the younger granite complexes, and that's why you have a lot of it, not just only in Jos, but in the neighboring Rukuba younger granite complexes, like places like Zagun, and also places like Burum, and also in Pancherium, Barkinladi. I'm going to mention some certain gemstones that we have, in the course of my presentation. Then the belt also extends to Magamangumo. Magamangumo is in Togo. There is a very large local government, and we have a lot of gemstones there, and it extends up to Papa Balewa and currently, part of the gemstones that are coming in is from the Kwapa Valley. The Kwapa Valley is at the northern side of the northern part of the younger granite complex, and a lot of gemstones are being removed in the place even as we speak. So what is the contribution of the metamorphic components of the processes that we're talking about? We all know of contact metamorphism and regional metamorphism. In contact metamorphism, you are having a large volume of magma intruding the earth crust, what we call the country rock. Where you have that, there's a lot of baking that happens, at that contact. And as you move away from that metamorphic hero, you are having a lot of zonation and a change in temperature, as you move away from the contact. So as it reduces, there are different gemstones that are formed in that process. And before I move further, I also need to mention at this point that you equally have the same kind of effect when you have impact metamorphism. Impact metamorphism is a situation where you have meteorites falling on the surface of the earth. And there are a lot of studies, even in Nigeria, where it has been proven that some of these gemstones form in that process. We have a place called Chikido in Sokoto. We also have Mayobelwa in Adama, where some of these meteorites have fallen and have created an impact crater, and gemstones have been created, around it. So part of what I was mentioning as an example in Plateau State, we have 22 known volcanoes. They are not active, they are dormant, but the creation of it within the Sura volcanic line have created a lot of gemstones that we're able to, mine. So right now in a place that is called Abordis, around Panchim, there are a lot of women that are engaged in mining of garnets. Some of these garnets are specified, and so on in the place. You have some of them in the Oyo Valley. So most of it is as a result of contact metamorphism. And we're having, even obsidian that has been cut and polished. It's as a result of the volcanic activities that have happened, in those places. Other examples that you have of gemstones that form some of the that form across the world is in Sri Lanka. Contact metamorphism have led to the formation of garnets, corundum, and spinel. Lapis lazuli are also found in the mountains of Afghanistan. Then regional metamorphism also is responsible for the formation of some certain gemstones. Unlike contact metamorphism that you have happening within a localized area, regional metamorphism is something that happens on a larger scale. And so you have a lot of things happening within the plate boundaries that I mentioned. And one good example that I want to give for want of time is the tanzanite that we have in Tanzania. It's quite unique if you look at the tanzanite. Most of it, for those of you who have been to Arusha, you now see that most of it is only found here. Many people have bought tanzanite and mistaken it for what? Sapphire. But we all know that on the most hardness scale, it's different because the sapphires are 9, but when you are dealing with this, you are dealing with 8.5. Most of them have been faceted and they've been used all across the globe. These are some of the jewelries that are made from the tanzanites that are found very uniquely in the Arusha region of Tanzania. So most of it you find them around Dar es Salaam, the capital, and also in their islands. It's also important for me to also mention that there are processes of ionic substitution that also create gemstones. One of it is pseudomorphism, which gives us new varieties of gemstones. For those of you that know polymorphism, is just a form. So you have a form that remains the same, but then this ionic substitution that takes place, and at the end of the day, it remains. So if you look at the case of tiger eye, in this case, crucidolite is being replaced by quartz. Now I know that for those of you who deal with crucidolite, we know the fibrous part is carcinogenic. But once you have a lot of replacement by quartz, then the fibrous nature is removed because the composition is now SiO2. And so you have something like this. And the tiger's eyes have been used, for a lot of gemstones and jewelries. The same way, marcasite, has been pseudomorph into pseudomorphed pyrite, gypsum, and also fluorite and goethite. Malachite frequently pseudomorphs azurite, leaving a perfect azurite crystal shape that is composed of malachite. Now, for the sedimentary processes, we all know that for us to be able to get gemstones are not always found where they are formed. And so these gemstones are removed by agents of denudation like water. And so through weathering, we're able to find gemstones move from one location, to another. But we can also have the impact of water, through evaporation and other things that we can also find gemstones. They've been an argument and for long, and I remember doing a lot of research whether we have diamonds in Nigeria or not. Now, the diamond that was reported in 1934 clearly suggests that it was a travel from another country through the river Niger that it got deposited in Nigeria. Because most of the gemstones are actually formed within the cretonic belt, of the continent. And that's why we have a predominance of the diamonds within the Kalahari cretons and also West African and Congo creton. And most of us, talk about the Democratic Republic of Congo as being the richest country in the world. So as water passes through the earth, it picks up chemicals that turn into weak acid, and some of it has the ability to dissolve even more minerals. So that is how sometimes you are able to find fossils and petrified wood that serve as crystals. Now, opal, turquoise, azurite, and malachite are created through some of these processes. This is an example of an opalized fossil. Now, opal in itself is an organic gemstone. Remember in the definition I gave when I started, I said it's an inorganic, but then there are some certain materials that are generally classified as gemstones that do not have internal structures. Hence, they are also known as amorphous substances. So, I've mentioned turquoise, azurite, and malachite. They all receive their color from copper that is brought by water. The copper-rich water must pass through limestone to create azurite or malachite. Now, for turquoise, which is blue, as most of you know, requires that the water also picks up some phosphorus along the way. This is an example of malachite that has received its color from copper. Now, peridots and diamonds form very deep within the Earth's surface because the condition of formation of diamonds, it's not very stable for you to have it at the top. Most of us that have studied diamonds, that it's cubic. And for it to remain cubic, it has to be very deep in the Earth, particularly coming from the mantle. Now, if it comes up so slowly, most of it is going to convert to graphite, which is hexagonal. And even the pencil that we have is graphite. And so for you to be able to have it, it needs to come up very violently, from where it has been formed. So if you look at most of the things that are here, you will notice that in the first, this is where the diamonds occur, and through the features that we have, it come up very violently to the surface, and then it creates more of a cone. And this cone eventually gets eroded, and once it is eroded, people are able to access it. So in South Africa, and Lesotho, and different other places where a lot of this studies, we discover that this is how the diamonds are formed. So in summary, gemstones are mineral crystals formed by crystallization. That's one form that gemstones are formed. Now, crystallization of minerals occur at the lower part of the crust, where the requirements necessary for gem formation are met. Now, the ingredients that we talk about are actually elements, and then we also require the right amount of temperature and pressure, and the space and time for the gemstones to be created. Now, processes such as molten rock and associated fluids constitute the igneous processes where gemstones are formed, and then environmental changes, which we have made a reference to, dealing with contact metamorphism and regional metamorphism is the process through which metamorphic gems are formed, and then the action of surface water, creates alluvial or alluvial gemstones depending on how these stones have moved, from their source of formation. And gems also are formed like peridots and diamonds within the Earth's mantle, and they are brought by major forces to the surface of the Earth, where we're able to mine them. Processes such as weathering and erosion removes all the layers to expose gem deposits that make it easy for us to mine gemstones. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much. The faces I'm looking at now, I'm not sure they're interested in Rock of Ages. Rock of Launch, rice, right? And of course, we've got a job to be technically speaking. I'm sure yeah, must have been excited about what they've had, if not rock, sedimentary, metamorphic, right? Molten magna, Amala, Nova, Jensen. 5 minutes we'll be told, then we'll go for lunch. From what you have heard from him, you want to weigh in, I want to ask him a question. Please, you can raise your hand quickly. Okay. Who else? Who else? Everybody is interested in rock of rice, not any multi-market. Please come. Okay.
Okay, please go ahead. Thank you very much. My question is not directed at him, but at Dr. Ayo Dada. Doctor, sir, well done, sir. That was very insightful.
Really?
Yes. I'm just hearing about this in public for the first time. Your take on gemstone and healing. Though my mom has been into that area of specialty before. But sir, I think when we're having issues as to having to spread your message across to all spheres is the place of science and pseudosciences. I myself am studying what you're talking about, and I think having to concretize or substantiate thinking and talking for people in the scientific field where he is coming from, where he has just amongst people who are in the arts field. I think that's where the challenge is, the confluence between science and pseudoscience. If you can please talk more about that. Thank you very much, sir.
Any other question? Oh, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Mine is not really a question per se, but the fact that this program has actually opened some of us eyes to a lot of opportunity within the value chain. So as a person and a new media consultant, I just feel there are solutions that can be provided to help in the area of the mining, the detection, like HAP solution that can be provided to help in the management of all these resources. So one of the areas we want to play, and I don't know how it flows here, I want to understand the game better. One of the role we can play is to help develop HAP solution for tracker, for to reduce the illegality of those mining, and among other things. So the earlier question I wanted to ask you is, who are those to say we can talk and work together in form of collaboration to minimize theft and more productivity can be achieved with this industry? So we want to play a role in the area of digital solution in the mining industry. So basically, that's all.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm also aware that there's a global talking point about the use of miners, right? In all the extractions and mining activities. They talk about blood diamond, right? Where people are enslaved in order to get these precious metals. Let's go straight to our spiritual Ed today.
Thank you. That's a very, very fantastic question, and it's exceedingly relevant and will provide a lot of answers for a lot of people. The truth about it is that there's no conflict. Science and spirituality are one. What does science study? Science studies what has already existed and the forms that it takes. It adds nothing. What is what science studies, and it has to adapt itself to the nature of what it studies in order to understand it better. Now, if you want to deny that your eyes cannot see, then you are limited. Because if you look into a single drop of water under a microscope, you'll see that what you see under the microscope is completely different from what you see when you don't use a microscope. You might see living organisms. With the microscope, you don't see with your physical eye. Now magnify that 500%. You see other worlds unfolding. Times 1,000,000%. You see other things that never existed before. So even the physical eyes are so limited in what they can see, much less the entirety of the individual. The individual himself consists of so many aspects that he has buried over time. It's the unearthing of those aspects that makes him alive. You know, you have an aura. But science know that that aura itself comprises 7. Now they have instrumentation that begin to see those colors. And they can see how those colors are affected by the moods. That when you're angry, they see different colors emerging from that aura. And now they also know that you can treat a person by working on the colors of that aura through color therapy. Just a few years ago, science didn't know this. So by the time the human being uses the abilities within his being to operate, which also includes even things that he is given. Isaac Newton, when the apple dropped, he was given the law of gravity. One of them found it in the bathroom when he was just sitting there. I was tired for years, was looking for the principle of flotation. And then he said, Eureka, I have found it. It was given to him. Admit that which we are must receive. And there are also instrumentations of receiving to the human being, of which even his dreams are a principal part. Science has to recognize that has to recognize it as well. Now, if science cannot recognize that, it means that the instruments of recognition by science have been blunted. It doesn't invalidate what exists. And then everything can be explained scientifically, but at the height of its perfection, it becomes an art. Because a doctor can say, oh, he has a temperature, I'll give him paracetamol, he's having signs of malaria, I'll give him Nevaquine and things like that. But at a point in time, the doctor can even, without even testing the guy, intuitively sense that this person has fever and these are things he needs. It now starts to verge on your intuition. You're no longer thinking about it, studying it. You just see your patient and you know what is happening because it has verged upon another instinct beyond. So science and the arts, they work together. Once the human being himself has both faculties working properly. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you. Archimedes, right? I found it. Eureka. From the bathroom. I think it's time for us to have something light. The lunch is here. The rock of food here. So I will be going.
It's another full day. We look forward to having you join us tomorrow. And let's try to come early, 9 a.m. on the dot.
9 in the morning.
We are going to start so that we won't take so much of our time. If you look at the agenda tomorrow, you will see it's also very full. So we have a lot to do. So let's come early so that we can also leave early. Thank you very much for joining us. Please just be a little bit patient. The ushering you for the lunch line by line. There is enough for everybody. But let's do it line by line so that we are not waiting too long over there. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. We'll see you in 20 minutes. Mr. Mike.
couldn't see the light. Whenever I look up, I couldn't see the sky. Sometimes when I'm standing, it seems like I've been walking miles. And my heart could be crying, is in the middle of a smile. But then I climbed the hills and saw the mountains. I hollered help cause I was lost, and I felt the strong wind. Heard a small voice saying the storm is over, storm is over. I can see the sunshine somewhere beyond the clouds. I feel heaven, yeah, that is over me. Come on and set me free. Whoa. Now in the midst of my battle, all hope was gone. Downtown in a rush crowd and felt all alone. And every now and then I felt like I would lose my mind. I've been racing for years and there's still no finish line. Oh, then I climbed the hills and saw the mountains. I hollered help cause I was lost, and I felt the strong wind. And then a small voice saying the storm is over. The storm is over. I can see the sunshine somewhere beyond the clouds. Feel heaven, yeah, over me. Come on, set me free. Somehow my beginnings got it became my friend. Now I can begin on the voices of the wind. When it's saying storm is over, storm is over now. And I can see the sunshine beyond the clouds. Feel heaven, yes, over me. Won't you come and set me free? Won't you set me free? Storm is over, storm is over now. I can see the sunshine beyond the clouds. Feel heaven, yeah, it's over me. Come and set me free. Won't you come and set me free? Hey, the light, I can see the light shining somewhere beyond the clouds. Hey, shining down, down, the light, I can see the light. Oh, shining, I'm moving, the sunshine, the light. I'm waiting for rainbow. Oh, the storm is over. For you, I can see the light. Hey, I can feel heaven over me. Heaven is over me. Come and set me free. Come and set love you. Well, I should have guessed it up now. I'm chilling right here. Simplicity. Love you. I do. Me. No matter what I do, all I think about is you. Even when I'm with my boo, you know I'm crazy for you. No matter what I do, all I think about is you. Even when you're with my boo, you know I'm crazy for you. I met this chick and she just moved right up the back for me. And she got the hots for me, the finest thing I've ever seen. Oh no, no, she got me in the sun. Oh, when that's okay, cause I whip on my cue and just listen. in my position like a show star. You can everything my beat and let it no time. I think this will hurt mine. I'm not sure cause I never been the type to pick up a beat, but baby girl, I just need you. So tell me now, what's it gonna be? She said, you don't know what you mean. Come on, baby, I do. All I think about is you. Even when I'm with my boo, you know I'm crazy about you. No matter what I do, all I think about is you. Even when I'm with my boo, you know I'm crazy about you. Well, I should have guessed it up now. I'm chilling right here with DJ Simplicity. This life goes back forever. Tell me what you waiting for. Together, business no fool of I've been there before, and you've been there before, but together we can be alright. Yeah, when it gets started, when it gets cold, we hold each other till we see the sunlight. Yeah, just hold my hand. Give me a promise that I'll do all I can. You just hold my hand. Come between us if you just hold my hand. The nights are getting darker, and there's no peace inside. So why make our lives harder? By fighting love tonight. I've been there before and you've been there before, but together we can be alright. Alright, just started when it is going on each other till we see the sunlight. So you can just hold my hand. Baby, I promise that I'll do all I can. Because it gets better if you just hold my hand. Come between us if you just hold my hand. Hold my hand, tired of being lonely. My hands on the door, baby, hold me. Let me be your one and only. Right in the morning. Tired of being lonely. My hands on the door, baby, hold me. Hold me. Let me be your one and only. Right in the morning. Hold my hand. Be your promise, Yo. That one girl that always been there, man, like, took all the bullshit. Then one day she can't take it no more and decided to leave. Yeah. I woke up in the middle of the night and I noticed my girl wasn't by my side. Could have sworn I was dreaming, for her I was fiending, so I had to take a little ride. Backtracking on these few years, trying to figure out what I do to make it go bad. Cause ever since my girl left me, my whole life came crashing and I'm so lonely. Mr. Lonely. I have nobody on my own. So lonely, Mr. Lonely. I have nobody on my own. Can't believe I had a girl like you, but I just let you walk right out of my life. After all I put you through, you still stuck around and stayed by my side. What really hurt me is I broke your heart, baby. You were a good girl and I had no right. I really wanna make things right, cause without you in my life, girl, I'm so lonely. Mr. Lonely, I have nobody on my own, girl. So lonely, Mr. Lonely. I have nobody on my own. Been all about the world, ain't never met a girl that could take the things that you've been through. Never thought the day would come where you would get up and run and I would be out chasing you. Ain't nowhere in the globe I'd rather be. Ain't no one in the globe I'd rather see than the girl of my dreams that made me be so happy, but now so lonely. Lonely. Mr. Lonely, I have nobody on my own. No. So lonely, Mr. Lonely, I have nobody on my own. No. Never thought that I'd be alone. I didn't really be gone this long. I just want you to call my phone. Stop playing, girl, and come on home. Baby girl, I didn't mean to shout. I want me and you to work it out. I never wish to ever hurt my baby. My baby be crazy, cause I'm so lonely. Mr. Lonely. I have nobody on my own. Try to bend that down, try to see what you happen around.